at my own pace. This is not my pace, people. My pace would be sitting there for another 30 years. That's all I got is honesty tonight. So I'm going to try to be very, very short, but I'm going to try to cover everything too that the man of God went over yesterday. And he was talking about writing about your vision for 2016. And when I was thinking about that, when he mentioned your vision for 2016, what I thought about was, the only thing I thought about was Paris. That was the only thing that I thought about. What am I going to do in order to get back to Paris? I love that city. So I wanted to, my first thought was, shoot, I'm checking every day on Expedia, on Kayak, Travelocity.com, all of them to check on the amounts, if it's gone down because of the attacks, and then I'm ready to purchase at that point when it's right in my zone. I mean, I hate to say that. Okay. But that's real because I have a budget that I'm on, and I'm trying to make sure that I'm accomplishing that goal so that I can get there. And my finances, let me tell you, it's crazy this year. It's crazy. Even though I'm working on them, and I've been working on them, it seems like my entire adult life. I've been working on them. But as a single mother, it kind of like puts you back in a deficit when you first start off, because for one, you didn't prepare for your kids to come at that particular time. Mm-hmm. So when you didn't prepare or get an opportunity to celebrate the child or children, in my case, coming along, then you are ending up in a position where you're trying to catch up instead of being ahead of the game. Mm-hmm. So when I had my girls, 1994. So I came to Grace first in 1993. And I came a little bit before Sonia. And when I got here, it was something like I never heard before. It was just crazy. I'm like, a church could be like this? You know, I was used to going to sleep, not paying attention, playing tic-tac-toe, whatever, with my friends in church. But I could actually understand what the word was that came across. Mm-hmm. So I immediately gravitated. I always went to church, but I just didn't know church. I didn't know God. I didn't know who he really was. I didn't know how jealous he was, but I was always in church. And in a Lutheran church, there is no emotion whatsoever. They don't clap. They barely do anything but, say amen. So when I came to Grace, it was like, crack to me. I was like, I got to keep coming back. I got to keep coming back. And I got here by an invitation by my daughter's father. And he brought me here, and I was like, okay, I like it, your church is all right, but inside I'm like, oh, this is really good. I actually understand what he's saying. It's not going over my head, and I can actually see myself trying to apply this word to something that is out there. So I ended up joining the church. Me personally, I'm a very shy individual, which is like standing up here is killing me. But I was so shy, and I say this because I would sit over in that corner over there, and I would hear where the chairs were yellow back then. Right. And I would sit over there in that corner, and I would listen. And during that time, I was out there. I was fornicating. No, I wasn't no sweetly saved Mary. But I was over there, and I was fornicating because I came with the girl's dad, and but my seat was on fire. Come on, Mary. Come on. It was on fire. I was like, who is telling this man what I am doing? So I would sit there, and I heard a word, and I felt convicted. And the next time that it even came across my mind to fornicate, I was like, no, every time I come sit in that seat, it's on fire. I just want to be able to have a small victory, to come to church and not have my seat on fire. So I got that. I got a few, and I'm like, you know what? This is the life that I want to live. This is the life I want to live. And I decided that I wanted to get baptized. Mm-hmm. But because I was so shy, I didn't want to walk down that aisle in order to come get baptized in front of everybody else. So I waited, and I waited, and I waited till everybody left. Then I walked down in order to get baptized. And it was just quiet. It was just me and God, and I was thankful. Until one day that Bishop, he's like pulling for souls whenever he sees somebody keep coming to church. And he didn't see me get baptized. Heck, nobody saw me get baptized except for the person who was baptized. So he's pulling for me, pulling from baby, come, God wants you, God wants you. And I'm like, only to find out, he was like, baby, have you been baptized? I was like, yes. Oh, okay. So then he closed out for the day. So he was like, okay, I'm pulling for somebody who already a member here. So I say all that because I came from a long way. 1993, it's night and day. It's night and day. Mm-hmm. I promise you, I don't look the same.
Thank you.
I don't act the same.
Come on, Mary.
I have.
Thank you, God.
If you saw me, I remember Coco and Marcus come over to my house one day. They were looking at my pictures from way back when, because I love taking pictures. So I was taking pictures even way back when. And let me tell you, it's night and day. I had to kick your kids out because they were talking about me so bad in the way that I looked. But I had to kick them out of my house. They was trying to sneak pictures out so they could show people. I'm like, y'all got to go. So it was just night and day. But the word transformed me slowly. So it wasn't overnight, but back then we had so many classes that you could take part of that it was crazy. But the thing was, I didn't even have a car. I was trying to get here. And that was a blessing that Mother Ann, she would always come get me. And we had church darn near every single day. Sunday morning, Sunday night. Mm-hmm. There was Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, you name it. Mm-hmm. It was there. And she was always willing to come get me and bring me to the sanctuary. She was always invested. It wasn't just me she was invested in and coming to get me to bring me to the sanctuary. It was other people she would bring to the sanctuary faithfully. You might have gotten there late, but you was gonna get there. Even if she was like her own personal van service, but you was eventually gonna get there, and she was always patient with doing that. But I thank God for her, I really do. Because she could have cut me off, when I cut her son off, but she didn't, because it was more important for her to look at a soul than it was just to look at,
Come on, Mary.
Just an individual my son dated or had kids with. It was so much more for her.
Right.
And so she would bring me to the point where I got a car, and then I was able to come on my own, and then I'm giving rides to people because I had to reciprocate what somebody else did. I'm like, it don't matter to me. Whatever you want me to do, I'll come drive you, I'll come take you. And then, whatever you want me to do, Lord, that's why I'm up here today. So, writing my vision for 2016, it's more than just a trip to Paris, really. Has anybody was it Lachelle, you were the only one? Anybody else have a vision for 2016? For 2016, that's good. All the way through 2016? I need to be passing the microphone, and I will willingly do that. But that's great. That's great, really. I have a budget that it doesn't change, so it's good, because the government ain't trying to give nobody no increase. So it's good for probably the whole full year. So, but I haven't thought about everything that I wanted to accomplish in 2016. I'm still trying to accomplish my 2015 goals. I got back in school, but there was financial aid situations that came up, and then even if the financial aid situations didn't come up, my job would have impacted me being able to go back to school because it was so demanding, and it kept me there until 6 o'clock when my class was starting. So I'm still not done with that one. I'm fighting to get back into that one. Shalonda's teaching me to do some prayer of imprecations on people in the financial aid office. So I'm working on that. But there's other goals that I want, and one of them just walked in, and she has a twin too, that are my goals because I want my family to be saved. I don't want them to be out there where the world can use them and can abuse them, or that they don't know their self-worth or anything like that, because I came from that, not knowing my value.
Come on.
I have such low self-esteem where I would accept anything anything. I mean, that's how I hooked up with their dad, because I accepted something that was even beneath me. I look back now, there's no way in the world our paths should have intersected the way that it did, except that I was missing something. I was missing knowing who I was.
Come on.
So when it came down to it, I mean, I didn't lose anything. I thought I did, but I didn't lose anything. I did get 2 kids out of it, and they all right, but you know, they give me problems sometimes, and they should. But I want them to be saved. I don't want them to have to go through everything that I had to go through in order to get my self-esteem. I tried to build my girls up. I tried to take them on trips. You name it, we were doing it. I supported them in their activities at school. I stayed them on their grades. I wasn't there a good mom to them sometimes, because they was getting disciplined a lot because I didn't play that. Because you're my representation when you go to school.
Right.
When I come there, all I want to hear is that you have such wonderful daughters. They're so well behaved. And really, that's all your kids got to be, is well behaved in school today in order to get noticed. You don't even have to excel. But I was demanding excellence on top of that.
Yes.
So my girls, they're on their own right now, which thankfully I'm happy for. Taylor told me not to talk about her, y'all. She told me not to talk about her, but I'm going to talk about her. I have an empty nest, and I'm ecstatic about it. I'm not one of those parents who, Cynthia, who want to hold on to her child forever, but I was ready to unlock the door and give them a swift kick out the door so that they could, so that I would know. My whole point in raising kids and putting stuff in them and teaching them different things is so that they can live on their own. I'm not guaranteed to be here tomorrow. I can't leave it for somebody else to teach them everything that I want them to know by the time that they leave. I'm not guaranteed that. So I have to put everything in them at that time, which is why as a single parent, there is no time for nobody else. There is no time for it's such a short time that I made a vow to God. I'm like, Lord, you don't have to send my husband now. My kids didn't ask to be here. They didn't ask to be here. Because of that, I poured into them, and I poured until I didn't have anything else. But I did have God. I did have God. And I don't want to digress too much on raising my kids. I'm going to go back to that time. But I just want to discuss my foundation first in the house of God, because it was everything to have the classes that we had here at Grace. It was everything. It kept you from wanting to stray to do, because there were so many activities that were going on. So if there was Virtuous Woman class, okay, that's another night down, and then you had Sunday night, okay, whoo, I'm too tired because I got to go to work the next day to do anything else. Okay, that's good. And you work in the daytime, you come to church at night. There was no time for nothing else. And the time that you did have, you had to put it into your kids, because what else were you going to do? Mm-hmm. When I got here, I knew about tithes and offering, but I wasn't doing tithes and offering. What do they call it? Checkerboard tithes? I was doing checkerboard tithes. And I was doing that not because I was hoarding money. And there's no hoarding when you don't got nothing to hoard. There's nothing. There was no extra when you're a single parent. You're paying daycare. You're paying health insurance because the state cut you off. You don't have anything. So everything you got is going into it, and it's a deficit. So I remember we were going to go see Dr. Elaine Schauswaller, and we were all taking a bus to go down there. And my sister Queenie, I don't know about that chick. She came up to me out of the blue. Didn't know I wasn't paying any tithes faithfully, but she came up to me and she was like, "Mary, are you paying your tithes?" I was like, "What? What are you talking about?" Right. I was like looking at her. I was like, I'm paying, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. She was like, "Pay your tithes." And she looked at me. I promise you, it was like I was looking at God. I promise you. I was looking at God. I was like, "Lord, how am I going to make this work? How am I going to make my budget work?" I promise you. I started paying those tithes because she didn't want me cursing that bus ride down to Dr. Elaine Shouswaller. So we had a long way to drive down to Virginia Beach and back. So, and I found some pictures the other day of all of us down there too. But I said, you know what, I'm going to pay them. I don't care how hard it is, I'm going to pay them. So I paid my tithes and offering, and I couldn't even imagine I was able to pay everything. It didn't make any sense. I was struggling to pay everything at first. But then it didn't even make any sense that everything was covered, and maybe, it was just peace of mind to be able to pay everything and not have anything left. I mean, everything was covered. Gas, whatever. It's all in your budget. It's all covered. And I don't owe anybody anything else. I don't have any extra, but I don't owe anybody else either. So I'm like, you know what? Okay, there might be something to this tithes and offering thing. So I just kept it. I made a point of paying that faithfully. Thank you, Queenie. You have no idea, because that blessed me. And if you don't pay your tithes and offering, I don't know what to tell you, because that's the first thing you need to look at when it comes to that vision for 2016. That's going to interrupt everything in a plan, because you have to be obedient to what God is saying. You have to be. I wouldn't be planning no trips if I didn't pay tithes. The way the world is today, I wouldn't plan nothing. So I did that. So also when I got to Grace, man of God was talking about home ownership. I'm like, look, I have nothing after I pay my bills. But he was talking about home ownership. I'm like, okay, he must be talking to the married couples, I'm like, I'll let him keep talking, and whatever. So it went like a year or two. He's still talking about home ownership until, oh my God, and I can't even think of her name. She bought a house right across the street, single woman. Hi, Lisa. Bought a home right across the street. I was like, wait a minute, she a single woman? She bought a home. I said, okay, he might be talking to me. So I said, okay. So let me start listening. So I said, okay, let me look at my finances. Then I looked at my finances. I was like, let's not look at my finances. Apartment living is okay. So I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm still going to look at it. There was nothing extra. But as a single parent, what you do get when you're a single parent, you get earned income credit at the end of the year. So I'm looking at my debt. I'm like, I gotta clear this stuff out if I want to buy a home. I want to, be able to give my girls a home. I grew up in a house. I want to be able to give my girls a house. So I'm like, okay, let me do that. So every year for the past 2 years, you get that chunk of money, $3,000. It was the hardest thing to do, not to buy another TV or, buy something that was up there. But the end result, that goal that you were after, outweighed everything. So I would take that check, apply it to all that debt. I didn't have it no way. It wasn't coming in. I wasn't counting it as my budget. I took it and added it on to that. To the point I didn't pay it completely, y'all. It got to the point where my debt to income ratio was doable for a loan. So I said, oh, okay, I'm ready. I'm excited. I'm ready to go. I get my money, and I find that there's a program where you could get your house built in a target area where they want people to repopulate. I said, okay. So I get in there, and they said, oh, we only need $500 down. I could come up with $500. I scraped that money together, and by the time I got it together to bring it down, I wanted a corner lot, because I grew up on a corner lot. So I said, okay, I wanted the corner house. They were like, somebody beat you to it. Really? Well, we got another one in the middle of the block. No, that's okay. Thank you. So they called me back the next day. The person who beat me to it didn't qualify for the home. So I said, amen. I said, I will be right down there on my lunch hour. I didn't wait till the end of the day. I drove all the way down there, put that money down on there for them to start building my home. None of that would have happened had I not tithe and offering. None of that would have happened. None of that. I cannot tell you enough. It would not have happened. So when the man of God is telling us, write the vision, make it plain. Okay. So he came out of Habakkuk. Habakkuk number 2. And I have it on here mainly so I can read it. Yeah, that's okay. And I'm going to start at verse 2, actually. And I like the Message, so my version may be a little bit different than yours. I can read your version first. Okay. And the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. That speaks volume. But when I get to the Message version, and I love this version, it said, and then God answered. It's just so plain. Write this. Write what you see. What do you see for 2016? Write what you see for 2016. We got an engaged couple here. Somebody wrote a vision down. Somebody wrote a vision down. And executed it. I mean, and Deidreon, I promise you, you give the single women hope. I promise you, you do. That a man knows exactly what he wants and is willing to do whatever it takes in order to go get it. That, I promise you, I couldn't have been more happy if it was me, I promise. So write it down. Write what you see for 2016. And it says write it out in big block letters so that it can be read on the run. So when I think about that, I mean, I teach the first and second graders with Miss Angelique. And when I think about big block letters, it's just like how first and second graders write big. You ain't no mistaking it. you can't miss it. One letter take up a whole page. Write it in big block letters so that it can be read on the run, which means that we're in motion. We're moving when we're doing this. We have to already be in motion with this vision for 2016. So the fact that Lachelle and Sierra and Linda have already written theirs down all the way to the end of the year, they're already in motion. All they have to do is just get it done. They just have to get it done. It says that this vision, this message is a witness pointing to what's coming. It aches for the coming. It can't hardly wait. And it doesn't lie. If it seems slow in coming, wait. It's on its way. It will come right on time. And that's where we lose a lot of people. Waiting. Waiting. Shoot. You almost lost me. Shoot. Waiting. Waiting. It's 20, how old are you, Taylor? 22 years of being kept. 22 years. The hardest 22 years. I promise you, it probably would have been easy if nobody was trying to holler. It would have been real easy. Whew. Some days you just want to go to work looking like Beat the Band, I promise you, so that nobody would want to holler at you. But when they are trying to holler, okay, it's easy when it ain't your flavor. Okay, come on. That ain't even a mind fight. I can battle that with my arm behind my back. I can do that. But when it's your flavor. Ooh, amen. When it's your flavor, flee. Flee. That's what the Bible says. Flee fornication. Flee. Flee. That's all you got. Ain't no words for it. Ain't no, I just want to look at it for a little bit. No. Flee. Flee. You don't get eye candy. You don't get it. And you be wanting it too, because there'll be times where you are lonely single women. Woo! You will get lonely if you don't have a good friend in the house of God. You can have friends, but if you don't have a Holy Ghost filled friend that can give you a word when you don't even want to hear a word and your flesh is like running stuff, somebody you can talk crazy to and they still be like, I love you. I love you, but no. No. And and I'm blessed that I have, a core group of women here, that, they got your back regardless. They got my back tonight, and I'm blessed to have these women in my life. A Betty who prays for me, a Linda who encourages me, a Queenie who does all of the above. I got a Sonia who will take care of me if I get a sniffle. And I got a Vicky. She always sit there. She would listen to me out in the parking lot. We have our own little parking lot ministry. She would listen. She would listen to me, and just I'm like, yes, thank you. You can't think that that's not important and be successful in the house of God. Because you will have failures. Or you can't have people who have the same mind as you sometimes when you want to fail. You're like, girl, if you do it, I'll do it. Okay? No, that ain't no friend. That ain't no friend. In fact, I thank God that I don't have friends like that. Even I have one friend that's out in the world. She respects my walk enough she don't even know, but she will encourage me, and she will never pull me her way. It's so important for people, and I say even our young people, to pick the right friend, to know what really is a friend. And I've always told my daughters this: everybody is not your friend. If they only want to talk to you when you by yourself, but when they get around other people, they don't know you, or they want to talk about you, that is not a friend. That is not a friend. That's not a ride or die. That's somebody who is trying to get you caught, trying to get you doing something that you're not supposed to do. So if you find a friend in the house of God, stick with them. I got a bunch of them. I love y'all all. Are there dangers to not having a vision? You think so? You're right. There's some dangers that are involved. Let's go to Proverbs 29 and 18. Everybody there? I might be moving fast. Word, KT. I came up under KT. I used to pray that man would never be gone, because I would have to take his class and teach. I think I had to do it one time. Oh my gosh. I thought I was going to pass out right there in the row. Proverbs 29 and 18. Where there is no vision, the people perish. But he that keepeth the law, happy is he. In my message form, it says, if people can't see what God is doing, they will stumble all over themselves. But when they attend to what he reveals, they are most blessed. Yeah. We don't always have to see what God is doing. And trust me, I'll be trying to pick his brain. What are you doing? What is my husband doing? What is he doing? He's sitting there. Right. Is he at the movies with some girl that he ain't supposed to be with? I'm like, I'll be so mad. I promise you, husband. I'll be like, what took you so long? What took you so long? So, there are dangers. When you don't see anything coming and you're not in tune with what God is doing, and you're, idle. You're idle at a time where you end up being just in survival mode. I've done that in over these 22 years where I'm just surviving. I'm existing, day to day. You just in there. You just doing whatever you got to do. You're just doing whatever you got to do. I go to work. I go to church. I come home. I cook dinner. I go to work. I come to church. I go home. It just becomes ritual, and you don't even realize that that's what you're doing, and that, okay, I'm no longer expecting anything from God. I'm not looking for him to bless. I'm just existing. I'm just here. I'm not going to get out of trouble. Just existing. Or you can end up switching things off because you're so desperate, for whatever situation. You're not seeing a light at the end of the tunnel, maybe with your finances. So if you're not seeing a light at the end of the tunnel, I don't care what Queenie was saying. I'm about to get these tithes and pay this bill. But then now you switching. Now that's another double-edged sword that you got to deal with right there. You switching things around, and you thinking you're getting ahead, and then you end up being like the person Bishop was talking about last night, who we had a $700 deficit each month for 12 months. You never catching up. You never getting ahead. So then you got to figure out, how am I going to do this? Right. Another downfall to that is just time. If we're not doing what we're supposed to do, that, and making a goal, making a vision, we are wasting time. Time is just going to keep on ticking. It's just going to keep on ticking. And then what? What Lisa Omar's husband said, time was going to pass regardless. While he was in pharmacy school, 7 years was going to pass. He might as well been getting a pharmacist degree. He might as well. I'm like, I remember that. I said, okay. So I needed to figure out how I was going to do this too. I'm like, okay, because at the time I was working at First Data when I had my girls. And I think Queenie was there, and even your mama was there. She worked there with your dad, actually. They were both at First Data at the time when I was there. And that wasn't cutting it. And I was so glad I had kids and didn't go back to that job. But when I did go back to the workforce, I went to First National. Oh my gosh. I used to think I was making some money, girl. It was $6.25. I was like, I could provide. I could come off the state. You know, I don't have to worry about anything like that. $6.25 didn't do nothing when it came to insurance for your kids, child care for your kids. It didn't do anything. So one step forward, and then they cut you off of everything. They cut you off of everything. It's not a stepping stone. So if you're not serious about being off the system or whatever, you will quit that job and you'll go back to living off what the state will provide. And there are many women who do it, and I promise you that was not going to be me, because they were in your business too much. They was in your business. They had this thick old pack that you had to fill out every 6 months. Every 6 months. I was like, okay, this is ridiculous. I was so happy to get away from that. So once I got to that point, I'm like, okay, you know what? I need a better job. You know, I qualified for my house to build my house, but it wasn't the size of house that I wanted. You know, it still had 3 bedrooms, but it was smaller bedrooms. So I'm like, okay, I'm getting the house. It's not the one that I want. I'm like, God, you said I'm supposed to be in this house. So I'm like, you making this happen. I said, you're going to have to work something out. So I applied for some more jobs. And I just got a job within the bank. I got in, and I think I was in that job for 2 weeks when I got a call from the government. They took forever to call a sister back. It had been like 4 or 5 months since I had applied for that job, and they finally called me. And I said, oh, okay, sure. I had only been in my new job for 2 weeks, y'all. I wasn't even trained on my new job. So I'm like, they offered me the job. I was like, I wanted to say yes right away, but I was like, how am I going to tell these people that they need to start hiring again for this same position? So I'm like, okay, let me go ahead and let them know, you know. So I'm like, I took the government job. I said, okay, because it was going to take me where I wanted to go in getting that house that I wanted to have built. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm like, they're just going to have their little feelings hurt. First National only want to give you a quarter or a nickel, you know, raise anyway. So I'm like, you know, I'm going to roll with that. So I told them, and they were completely shocked. You're leaving? I'm like, yeah, I'm leaving. I'm leaving. And they're like, well, is there anything that we can do? No. Because the government gives raises, every 6 months when you first start out, you get raises for the first 2 years, I think. I'm like, this is the better, and it ain't a quarter. It ain't a quarter. So I'm like, I'm going to go with this one. So God blessed. And me and my girls, we would drive by our house as it was being built. Every single day, we would be driving by, see the deck get put on, see the tiles. I'd be like, oh, those are the colors we picked out, and blah, blah, blah. And we were so excited. We couldn't wait to move into that house. It was dead of winter, December 29th. They were like, you gonna move in? Heck, yeah. I wanted to get away from apartment life, because apartment life, it grieved me. It grieved me. People, promise you, people don't care for stuff in apartments. And I had beef with people. Okay, yeah, granted my car wasn't the best car, but it was my car. And it did have a little issue with some smoking. And the way our apartments was, it wasn't bad. I mean, it wasn't like a cloud, like we was Pigpen driving down the street or anything, but it was, it just had, it just had an odor to it. When you pulled into your garage, there was a hallway then that led into the hallway to the apartment. So my neighbor took it upon herself to lift up my garage so that the fumes wouldn't be in the hallway. There was a hallway and a door before it got there. So she leaving my car exposed at nighttime. So I was like, oh, okay. Who keep opening my garage door? So I caught her in the act. Doing it. Oh my goodness, y'all, I was not saved at that particular point. I promise you I was not. I was livid. So me and her, we beefed for a long time. She would have parties and let her brother have college parties at our apartment. I was calling the police. I was banging on the wall. Everything. Apartment life was just not for me. It was just not for me. If I didn't even have a home, I'll be renting a home. I wouldn't be in an apartment. So it got to that point where I was delivered from that. You know how when you live somewhere for a while and then you move to someplace else and sometimes you forget where home is at? I never took a wrong turn to that place ever again. I never took a wrong turn thinking that I still lived there. I was all the way home. I'm like, I passed by that street. I ain't have not one mind fight, not one wrong turn. Didn't want to go there when we had family living over there still. I still didn't want to go over there. The man of God talked about spiritual goals, financial goals. He didn't really touch too much on that one, but I'm going to touch on that one. Career goals, family goals, and church goals. And how am I doing on time? Because I am... Plenty of time. That's right. Thank you. Amen. There's a limit. I'm going to wrap it up. I got some cooking to do tonight. I ain't trying to hold y'all up. Okay, spiritual goals. Everybody should have a spiritual goal. I promise you. This is my goal for 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20. I'm like, the speed of the kingdom is just too fast for Miss Mary, I promise you. So, everybody really should have a spiritual goal, whether it's getting filled with the Holy Ghost, if you don't have it, if you haven't been baptized, and you want to be, by golly, yep, get right on in there. You can do it like I did it. Came down after everybody was gone and do it that way. Or you can join one of these Sunday school classes that we have here. Because that's what's getting me up here today, let me tell you, is the Sunday school class. I almost wanted to do a transfer into Mr. Cager's class so that I could avoid this. But I'm like, it's not actually working here. But because I think he might end up coming up with his class doing that too. You never know when it's going to end up happening. But I complain, and I think we all complain a little bit, maybe not out loud, some of us out loud, when we're in the Sunday school class. But it's challenging, and it forces me to do something more than I don't even want to do. I want to learn it, but you don't want to have to do the work to do it. I'm like, me, because I don't like to read, So if I have an audio book, I am good. My Bible reads to me all the time, and, we're like best friends. But when it comes to, doing a lot of extra, when you're already busy, if you're a single mom, you're busy. I don't have the luxury. When I was in school, I didn't have the luxury of just reading. I was tired of reading my school book, so I know I didn't want to read just for pleasure. I put a movie in, please. I will watch a movie first before I do that. And people like Linda who like to research till the cows come home. She want to research everything. Why is Mary leaning like that on the podium? There could be something with her ankles or something, but she'll figure everything out. I'm like, she just researched just to be researching. So if you have a spiritual goal, everybody should have something. You could be just struggling with something that's just happening just for today. You struggling with, okay, you looking up fornication. Okay, I'm struggling with it. Okay. Keep reading it. Keep reading those scriptures. I promise you. You'll start believing it. Learning the books of the Bible. How many years were we here? And how many of us didn't know the books of the Bible? Fergie knows it. Oh, May Lee, yeah, May Lee used to be our only go-to person, and then Jackson, and I mean, like, that's both two different extremes. You know, we had the youngest, and then we had the oldest, and so I'm like, none of us knew those. I'm like, it was just so surprising that we didn't know them, and we just thought you knew it was in the Old Testament, you just didn't know where. We like, it's somewhere in there, whatever. Or you could just start even with a book in the Bible. We started with Philemon in our class. We didn't even know who that brother was until we read about him, but it opened our eyes to a whole different thing. I don't know about anybody else, but I was proud once I finished doing the homework that I'm like, I could say that I know something about these people. I could know. It ain't just the major ones that we learn. We're learning about everybody. And this test right here, whew, let me tell you, it's another thing. Even Danielle, she had a spiritual goal, and she didn't even know she was having a spiritual goal when she decided that she wanted to get the women together just to pray. That was just something that God put on her spirit, but she used that to her benefit, and it helped women who weren't praying, in order to pray or just to start a prayer life up. I mean, it helped me. It really did. I may not be here for the prayers, but I was in class, so trust and believe. I was not eating while y'all was fasting too. Financial goals. This is a biggie. I mean, I don't think there's probably anybody in here who hasn't been through a financial dilemma or anything that's come up. I know I have, and it takes that just to even look at your finances could be great, and you may never bounce a check, you may have excess money, but what are you doing with it? Are you maximizing the money that you do have to the benefit that you could have stock, you never know, because you have excess, but because we don't plan for any of that, we don't even do any of that. So back to, again, tithes and offering. If you don't do your tithes and offering, none of these things are even possible if you don't even tithe or offer anything. You have to. Get a budget. Pastor Linda talked about getting a budget. I have one. I mean, it took maybe, 2 or 3 classes that you taught on budgeting. It takes me a while for it to penetrate, apparently, through my mind. I eventually got home ownership. Okay, I eventually got a budget, and it's actually a working budget, not a budget just on paper. It's a working one. I use it when I go to pay my bills, and I try to teach my children the same thing, but we working on that, huh, Taylor? We working on that because you're not coming back. I mean, if something happened, but if it's because you ain't paying bills, you're not coming back. There's a bridge for you somewhere around here. I love you, Taylor. Home ownership. If you don't have a home, who doesn't have a home? A house. There you go. Home ownership. Start looking. If you're not already looking, start planning. There are so many people here. Who is it? Shaquita's husband? Yeah, the personal banker. Give them a call. And just figure out where you're at. It's not going to hurt just to figure out where you're at. Go visit Taylor. She's at Wells Fargo Bank. She can point you to somebody who will actually give you some good information and be able to follow up with it. Data, you about to have a wife. She might want a house. She said, hey, she might want a house. He's like, look, I got the apartment. I'm coming out at 10 o'clock for the $2 food. I need, give me a break. You did excellent, though. But, if you want a home, start doing the footwork for it. It don't take much. I just had to look at my finances. And I promise you, when you look at your finances and they're jacked, you do not want to look any further. You do not want to look any further. It's a very, very real thing that you just want to turn it over and do nothing. That's real. And I did that for like 2 years. I'm like, oh, well, he talking about home ownership? No, this don't apply to me. This don't apply to me at all. But it did apply to me. And it wasn't even just a home that I was buying that already existed. I was building my home. A single mother was building a home. And with no child support whatsoever, it was just me and God. And because I tithed enough, he could trust me to do that. There's just no way that I could even put it any other way. I cannot stress tithes and offering enough. I can't say that enough. Who doesn't have a passport? Trayshawn? No? Kenny traveling without you? Nandi? Nandi and we need a passport. We need our passport. Khalid, man, you going places. Yeah, get that passport. You got that plan already done, Sierra. Get that passport. You waiting for it to come. See, that's what I'm talking. This girl is on her plan. I applaud that. She's about business, y'all. She might pass up a lot of people in here. She might, for real, just if she's serious about it, she's like, no, you messed with me once, devil, but I'm prepared now. I'm prepared. That's right. That's good. Because we're a traveling church. I was looking through pictures. I saw so many different trips that I went on. And I'm like, oh my God, I forgot about that. I forgot about this. This is trips with my kids. Do you know that taking your kids on trips, places, that's the best form of education that you could give your kids? The experience of seeing it, it's a whole different level. If you just read about it, it's okay. You might get something out of it. But to see it in person and to be able to do it, my girls love that. And I love traveling too. So if you're not afraid to go places and experience and get lost, get found, I mean, that's the beauty of going to Italy and to going to Paris and Montreal and Vancouver. And I encourage you, if you've not been to any of them, I mean, at least just make it to one. We've got the 30th one coming up, and that's going to be out of this world. Out of this world. And I plan to be a part of that one. If I'm not a part of that, I'm in somebody's luggage, so. I'm getting there in the wheel well or the plane, something. Getting there. Your career goals. That takes something to look at. I had to do that. When I said that I worked at those different places, I had to take a look at that. It didn't fit in where I wanted to go. It didn't fit. So if it didn't fit, and maybe I don't have an opportunity to leave that job right there, but maybe I can get a supplemental job. It's the end result that's what's going to bless you. It's that end result. I'll work hard if I can see something and it's coming closer to me and it's coming closer to me. And that's not even just in a job. Maybe you got to go back to school. Right. Maybe you got to go back to school. I went back to school twice. This is my third time going back to school, actually. And trust me, it's so easy, when you have kids to give up on that, because there's so much stuff that comes in that you're dealing with. You couldn't get grades in school. Your kids is not doing their homework because you at school at nighttime, and you got to be there to look over them and make sure that they doing their homework. Something's missing. But somebody told me that when your kids are young, that's the best time to go to school. It's the best time. When they get older, that's when you need to be around. You think it's when they're smaller that you need to be around with them. No, it's when they get older. Is when they really going to need your advice. They really going to need your wisdom. They're going to need your guidance and everything that you end up doing for them. And I was at class at nighttime. I would come home. It'd be 9 o'clock at nighttime. These kids would wait for me to come home. What's for dinner? What's for dinner? These kids was teenagers at that time. I'm like, what's for dinner? Whatever is being fixed by your hands is what's for dinner. I'm not cooking. I done worked a 40-hour work week. I come home after school doing homework, and you want me to cook dinner? That's why Taylor's struggling now. Struggling to eat, y'all. Y'all gonna see a GoFund Taylor page because she needs some food pretty soon. She losing weight left and right. She swears she not, but she losing weight left and right. And she got money, but she just will not, and got food, but won't cook it. She won't cook it. That's just plain lazy, I promise you. When you get this goal, your career goal, you're going to have to stick with it. Me and Betty, we used to complain. Oh my God. Betty graduated before I did. And I was so happy for Betty to graduate. But I promise you, I so wish I could steal her cap and gown and go down there myself because I was burnt out. And I can't, and young people, if you have an opportunity to go to college, right out of high school, do it. Do it. Don't play around with it. Don't play around with it. I love the fact that Lexi and Day, I promise you, Nandi, that if you could do that right out of high school and not dilly-dally, not get caught up in relationships, don't fall for any of those traps. Them traps is always there. They're always there. Stay the course. Be about your business. There's plenty of time to be an adult. There's plenty of time to be an adult. And it sounds like a cliche, it really does, but I promise you it is not. Once you get out, you get your career, you get your life going, then, you'll find out that none of that stuff was even worthy of your time. None of it's worthy of your time. Be focused on school and getting what you want. So if you want, I don't know, Khalid, you want to be in, you still want to be with the Mighty Ducks? The Ducks, okay, so you want to be with the Ducks or whatever, and but some female want to roll up on you. She gonna have to roll through Aunt Mary, mama, sister, cousin, grandma. For one, if she can make it, right? If she want to roll, but you got to keep your focus on where you want to go, because you the bomb young man, so somebody is gonna want to scoop you up, but you be like, hey, I'm doing the scooping, not you. So what's Betty's favorite word? Lek-leka. Lek-leka. Be gone. So if you find somebody in a field that you want to be in, dive in it. Dive in it. I'm looking for people who photographers. I found me one who was willing to train me and everything. I'm like, really? Maybe I don't have to go back to school because you want to do that. You're willing to pour into me on photography. Why not? Why not? If you could find a mentor, even if they're not able to, maybe their time is, busy right now, but somebody that you can bounce stuff off of in whatever field that you're in, take advantage of that. If they're willing to do that, you pick whoever's brain that you can pick that's going to benefit you in order to get that goal accomplished, because you don't want just to be sitting here, you have a vision you wrote down, but you ain't never looking at it. I've done that. I've done that. Good intentions don't mean nothing. That puts you behind. That'll keep you in the situation that you're at where, man, I just went to school and I've got nothing to show for it. But student loan debt. That's all I got. Student loan debt. I don't want just student loan debt. I want the degree. I want the degrees that come along with it. I want to be able to help somebody with the career that I've chosen. And if you don't know what you want to do, that's another part of this. If you don't even know what you want to do, there are websites out there. I went out there today to look just to see. Let me see. Okay, www.assessment.com. And that will tell you, if you don't have any idea what you want to do, or maybe you got so many things that you're good at. That was one of Queenie's things. She was good at so many different things that she couldn't narrow down exactly which one that she was supposed to be doing. She couldn't narrow it down. I'm like, that's a dilemma, because you could be going in every different direction and you don't know. She knows where she's supposed to be at now, but look how long it took her to get to that point.
That's real. That's real.
So www.assessment.com. There's another one, www.fundeducation.com. I even saw some crazy one that Oprah Winfrey had out there. And y'all can just search that. You can search career goals or career aptitude tests, and that one should pop up. under Oprah Winfrey. So if you don't know where you want to go, find this. If you're a single mom and you don't know what you want to do, use this in order to narrow it. It was a long time. I mean, I started off going to paralegal. Then I found out you had to do so much doggone reading. I was like, this is not for me. This is not for me. I'm like, but I do like the criminal justice system. So I'm like, well, let me just parlay myself over into the criminal justice system. And, boom, it was a perfect fit. It was a perfect fit. I didn't have to do that much reading. I had to read, but I didn't have to do that much reading, and I can enjoy what I actually do. And I love what I do. I don't always love, every aspect of my job, but I love what I do. And it's good to have a degree that you're actually in. So many people go to school. Make sure you know what you want to go to school for, too, before you get there, preferably. And then once you're there, you're wasting time, because I wasted money on a paralegal degree that I didn't finish and started over with other stuff. You're wasting time and money. That student loan money don't go nowhere. I don't care what you do, bankruptcy, whatever, it's still tapping on your door. They will come get your money. They be like, oh, she don't want to pay us? Let me make it easy on her. I'm just going to take her whole check. I'm just take her. And then she'd be like, surprise, it's me, student loan. Nail net. So, family goals. Family goals. You should have a goal for your family. I do have one. I want one more up to date, because I'm an empty nester. I don't have kids physically in my house, but I still have goals for my family. I have goals for my immediate family, and then I have goals for my family as a whole. And that's brothers, sisters, and whatever, wherever they're at. Mother. Don't get me started on that one. We don't have enough time for that one. But there are goals just so that we can all come together even more often. And I mean, it seems like it would be such an easy task, but when there's certain things that happen in families and differences that happen, and somebody has an opinion of what something should have been, and somebody has an opinion about something else, and you said this, and grudges, I promise you, they will kill you. They will kill you. They will kill you, because I promise you, I was the queen of grudges. You did something to me or somebody I loved, I was looking at you crazy. And that is very real, Queen. He'll tell you. I'm a very big defender of people that I love. So if I love you and somebody's looking at you and treating you crazy, who was that? What was that lady's name? Angela. And why did I get married? I was like, that's me. I'm Peter. I'm about to cut some ears off. You messing with my Lord. Excuse me? What are you saying?
Right.
So I had to learn to deal with that, and oh my God, and that was just so recent too. That was just so recent. I had to learn to get grudges out of the way, and more importantly, I had to get myself out of the way. Oh my God, and I promise you, it was only God. It was only God, and I needed to make it right, and I didn't know how I was going to make it right, and in the moment, I didn't have time in order to get it right.
That's real, man. That's healing. That's healing.
I didn't have time. You don't know. I didn't have time, and I had to get it right, because it's so important to me not to fail a test. And I pride myself on that, not failing a test. And when the man of God told me I failed the test, I sat in his office and I just cried. I didn't have no words. I just cried. And he was like, you're going to get it. He was like, you just be ready when they come and you get it. And I was just sat at the altar. And I promise you, I was like, oh, Lord, really? I said, nothing's changing. I'm sitting here at the altar, but nothing's changing. I need something to be manifesting right now. I'm like, man, if I throw all the oil on me or something, I'll be okay. I sat there, and I was like, okay, panicking ain't helping. Panicking ain't doing the doggone thing, but making me panic even more. So I'm like, okay, shoot. I need some word. I said, okay, create in me a clean heart, oh God. Renew the right spirit within me. Cast me not away from your presence. Take not your Holy Spirit from me. I just kept repeating it over and over and over again. Create in me a clean heart, oh God. I said it at least 20 times. before I had to do it. And when I heard the voice, it was like it got completely removed. And there was nothing, I promise you, there was nothing in my heart. Boy, that scripture, that's my new favorite scripture. I say that all the time, don't I, Shalonda? I say that all the time because I needed it. I needed it. And it worked, y'all. It worked. It worked. I had no animosity. I loved them. I could receive them. I could move past it. I didn't have to walk past them, look crazy at them. It wasn't even about them. It was about me. It was about me. The test was for me. It was for me to get. Whew, thank you, Lord. I passed the test the second time, but I want to pass it the first time. I'm still struggling with that, but in the moment you be like, "Boy, this flesh be ready to just, it be trying to run stuff, and it ain't running nothing. It ain't paying no bills in this house and nothing." So I don't want to keep everybody too long. We have church goals too that we need to have, and they're goals for our church. And I assume he didn't go into this too much, but I mean, he mentioned something about taking on souls, but I think even as a church, I mean, this is our church. This is our church home, and if we see something that needs to be done, that like the bathroom, the women's bathroom, and I don't know who does that. Who does that? Mila. She does an excellent job on the women's bathroom, and trust me, sometimes it's not very fragrant in there. So for her to make that, our bathroom beautiful is just awesome. So just the little things that we do, the nursery, I remember the nursery when my girls were back there. It wasn't as nice as it is back there. You got a rocking chair. You could actually stay in there. You were standing when we was back there. You're like, okay, you kids need to shut up so we can go hear a word or something. But no, we couldn't even get back out there. But we have a nice room. It's not brand new. It's not, anything. But, when we see something that needs to be done, I love the movement the men are doing in the house of God, how they're binding together, they're getting stuff done in the house of God. It takes all of us. And, there's a new project that the man of God mentioned with the pipes. With the pipes. So, and he's asking for project number 2 on your offering envelope to make sure that you're giving with that. But I just want to close out and thank everybody for coming out tonight. I don't have anything else for you, so if you on a cliffhanger here thinking something else is about to come out, no. So yeah, no questions, please. I guess we can come to the altar for altar call, and I'll let Pastor Linda do that.